Okay, yeah, so it's like 3:40 in the morning. Here on the 1st of May, 2025. And I've gotten up because I've been going through transformations and one thing and another. And, I'm getting quite on in years, more and more fragile, I think, in a lot of ways. Of course, a fragile thing can last for a long time. But, just using common sense, I've decided, it's come to me, I've thought to myself, whatever it is, I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing to you. This is going to be my farewell song. This will be my farewell address. Farewell, to all and sundry of the people who, the denizens of the earth, the people who live on the earth, the beings. We won't go so much for the bodies in the form, we'll say the beings, the souls, the beings, the essences that inhabit the different bodies. Mostly have to be a human body to kind of react to something like this. I mean, I don't see a lot of animals sitting around going, yeah, no, he's right about that. Woof, woof, good. No, I don't see that happening. So in the very first place, since it's going to be my farewell address, which may go on for many videos or may only be half a video. Is it possible to make half a video? I don't think so, but anyway, just a joke, of course. Before I continue, I should address my audience. I should consider you. Who are you? And also, I should consider the people who aren't watching. So, first of all, to all those who aren't watching, those whose souls have understood that what I had to offer was of no use to them, or was hardly of any use, or wasn't worth it, or they couldn't find it, or it would be too difficult, or they weren't interested, or they were lost and didn't even know what to think, or they were so advanced that this kind of chatter from a being like myself is mostly annoying and irritating and a waste of their time. And to all of those who, of course, being the ever hopeful, good type, I'm hoping that someone, or some few of you, perhaps as many as 3 or 4, who knows, maybe more, will, in time, get a benefit from this, and of course, and at the same time be somewhat entertained, not too put off by the old man and his light blue sweatshirt talking to you about his life and the things he's learned and everything else. And or perhaps for someone who will calm you down, or be able to say something, share something that will help you in some way. That would, of course, be my hope. My prayer, if you wish, my request to ask God to make this to be a useful talk to some of his children he created. Now, when I say, so we're talking about the people who will never see this talk, who will watch this talk. That's also part of my audience, because of course, beings know everything, so they know that I'm giving the talk, even though they're not going to watch it. But among those beings, and I hope possibly a few of the ones that watch it, we have to consider when we say beings, essences, we think of those people like this and bigger and bigger. Or what do we think of? Well, we don't know because we can't see the essences. We don't spiritually sometimes, you can see things, fragments, remnants, fragments, parts of the picture. Maybe, I don't know, some people, sometimes you see the whole thing. I guess, I don't know. I'm not going to put limits on it, but I mean, just in general, there could be beings on the earth who are larger than the earth who walk around, there should be beings on the earth who are just super enlightened. And I say this because, look at the messengers of God, Look at Abraham and Moses and Christ, Muhammad, Paksubi, Sumohari Vijoyo, how big are they and how developed are they? But here's the interesting thing for the rest of us. When I say the rest of us, I'm always going to be mostly referring to those of us who aren't quite that enlightened, or whatever it is. Notice that these beings, let's take Christ for instance. God, the things he could do, the things he saw. How he was able to just communicate with God just so easily, say the most incredible things, and heal people, bring people. He had life. Sufi said he had life within him. Imagine that, you had life within you. You could bring something, how else could he? That's how he brought people back to life. He had life inside of him. He was able to say, okay, give them life. Oh, amazing. And yet, but my point was that he was in a human body. Pretty sure about that. He ate, nobody ever said, God, wait a minute. That's not a human. That's, look. He's not, no, they said, yeah, he's walking around, he's wearing his sandals. He's got his robe on, he's, this and that, and doing all kinds of things. So you can note from that the human body is really something, because it can accommodate without issue, just seamlessly, a being that is far more developed, enveloped by God, far more whatever than we are. I speak for myself. I don't, whatever I am, far more developed than, it shouldn't be, but anyway, far more developed than we are. And yet, ping, 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 there it goes. And then we can go down to the other end of the scale. People who are so undeveloped, not very developed, but the body works for them too. Could I have some of that soup? Thank you. Not very developed, let's say, or maybe not aware, or, as we sometimes say, maybe a real jerk. But the body that God created, made it out of clay, it says in the Bible. I don't know, geez, really? Okay, but, whatever God took the essences of whatever made that body, what an incredible thing it is. It's amazing. I can tell you, having been here for 8 decades, 8 decades, this body can do all kinds of things, can change. You can have feelings here that you never thought you would feel. You can have all kinds of agility and dexterity and litheness and quickness and slowness and fragility and strength. So many different things you can have in a body. And all kinds of intelligences and talents. So many things. So many things. Amazing. Anyway, so that's I'm addressing now other people who won't watch this video. So I won't say anything to you because you're not listening and you couldn't respond. But to those of you who can respond without listening, I say adieu. Thank you. So that leaves a group of people who will watch this video. High probability I'll get some of my kids to watch some of the video because I'll send it to them. Pretty good chance. But I think it's a good video. I think it's light enough, has enough pleasant feelings on it, something positive. I'll send it to them. I'll send them the series, part 1, part 2, part 5, whatever. And being the loving and beautiful children that they are, some of them will watch it. Perhaps 1 or 2 will watch it. Some may pay attention, may get something out of it. Usually they say, oh yeah, that was a good video, I like that video. So that tells you right there. It's pretty simple. So I have 7 children. So we can say, a few of those will most likely see it. Then on my channel, which I've had for many, many years, I have 35 subscribers. People don't discuss. And the other day I found I haven't had any comments. I guess originally I had held the comments back. And I had thought this meant that you could make a comment. I still think that's what they were telling me. You could make a comment, but I wouldn't publish it unless I looked at it first. But I'm going to have to look at one of my videos. I haven't even done. To see, because I've made like 400 videos. You'd think by now but to see, is there no space for comments? Because no one, very few, only a couple people commented, and the comments have been, God, I wish they never had. Really painful and pleasant things have gotten through somehow. I think just a couple, thank God. I did get 35 likes on a recent video. It is my most popular video. It was just a little open remark I was making, a pleasant kind of conversation, a monologue, but in conversation with a certain person in the government, suggesting, in a amicable way, something to them they might want to consider. And that video got way more views than anything else I've ever done. 853. Well, of course, we all know. A good video YouTube guide. They get, they'll get 15,000 in a day. One day the video will be up and at 15,000 views, or draw them in. I don't have that audience. So, and among those people probably wouldn't be interested in this kind of thing that I'm talking about. So we could say probably none of those. And of the 35 subscribers I do have, are any of them still alive? I've subscribed to hundreds of things. If I like something, I want to support the guy, I'll subscribe, If I like what you're doing, I think, yeah, I'd like to see more of this. But I can't be sure that any of my subscribers, they maybe just checked it off and never came back, never watched another video. I don't know if I have any real subscribers. We know that Nora Lee, who rides her motorcycle all over the world, is quite the cheery and a good companion, a fun companion to have. She gets such a kick out of the countryside. She goes a crazy, pretty gutsy girl, to say the least. Quite a courageous Norwegian girl. I think she's from Norway. Nora Lee. Wow, she has lots of real subscribers. I'm one, but I've kind of stopped watching videos because I have to stop watching other people do things and do something myself, eh? Anyway, so those 35, we can't really say for sure that any of those will watch the video. I hope if you're one of the 35 that you do and you enjoy it and you make a comment, something nice, say something nice. Make an effort and say something nice. And then who else might ever watch it? Well, the hope is, because I belong to a community, and the things I'm going to talk about have to do with that community. It's a community called Subud, or you could call it a community of all those people who received a gift that God gave out in the West, starting in the about 1957, going very strongly into maybe 1980, and then kind of diminishing. It's still available, but the gift up until now. So 43 years plus, so 68 years. This gift from God. I don't know if you believe me, but say the gift from the Almighty. Or to man, very useful, wonderful gift. It's given out, passed out in the beginning and then to be passed out by through contact with each other and a kind of worship you did, a thing you did. You just submitted and waited till you're moved from within, and then take off. Anyway, that was been doing. He started him and some of his people he'd already opened in Indonesia. When they started opening people in England in 1957. If you remember, that was about the time that everything just exploded. All that life came in. The gift from God, it brought a lot of life. You had the Beatles, and you had all this rebellion against all this stuff that was on the earth. You had the Indians, hippies coming, Indians and reincarnating hippies. A kind of wonderful thing. So it lasted for a while. Then of course the powers on the earth. It's like the tide, the wave comes in, whoa, beautiful thing. Lots of stuff goes on, then it recedes out. Then it's quiet, and then sometimes they build a wall out there so you can't come back as far. Things happen, probably a bad analogy. Anyhow, but there's a whole group of people there who, a few of them, because after I pass away, some of them will probably, I'm just being life calculus times. After I pass away, probably a few of them who've never watched any of my videos and never been interested will come over to my channel and they'll see this, and some of them may watch a video or two. Now, in terms of watching it through the whole thing, hard to say. So, in sum, I address you all, and then just the passerby. If you're just a passerby, a normal person, regular person, has some education, some intelligence, or you don't have to be, you can understand English and you have a computer or have some way of watching this, you're welcome. I mean, you'll get stuff. If you pay attention, you can get stuff out of this video because I have gained some, told or gained insight about things, and I'm going to be sharing that over these talks. It's going to be kind of a relaxed walk through different things as I think of them, as they come up. Pictures of moments in my life that I thought were interesting or fun or instructive or useful. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm not here to babble on about myself. I'm just here to kind of have fun with you, share some things, and give a chance to anyone who needs it to hear my story in case there's something in there that will be, as I say, of some use. Okay, so there's 21 minutes of introduction. I'm already tired. I mean, just having introduced the whole thing, I'm ready to take a break. But I don't know if I can think of anything to say right off the bat. Maybe I should come back and do part 2 and just call this the introduction. No. Well, I could talk a little bit about the kind of overview of my experience of life on this earth and what it means, what it's about, what I've observed it to be about, and what it's not about, and what. Because throughout this whole thing, I'll be trying to give you little tips, because it's like if you're a professional carpenter. I was a carpenter for a long time. Professional carpenter, along the way you learn these little tricks. Little things, if you do this before you do that, you're going to be much easier. And Christ was a carpenter too, and you can see he was trying to tell people, looking at it in a kind of lighthearted way, he's kind of trying to tell you the tricks, it'll be much easier for you. You'll be much happier, you'll get to life itself. That's what you want, isn't it? If you just do some of these things that I'm telling you to do, take it up, give it a try. And I remember the other day, it wasn't too long ago now, in the way that I'm in, which I will get to, which is called the technique of religion. It's not a religion, it's not a doctrine, it's an experience you have. It's just like, you can get somebody, it's a kind of a far out, it's something, you just, they throw you in the water and you either sink or swim, but it's not that rough, but you have an experience. And experience is just necessary, isn't it? Isn't that why we're here? I used to say, if you could read in a book, you're on the other side in your home dimension where you just feel wonderful and comfortable and you can do anything, you can just without any effort, you can just know, experience all kinds of things. if you could do that, if you could read it in a book, as I say, using terms of the earth and things, what we are familiar with here, you wouldn't have to come here. You have to come here. It's like riding a horse. You can read all about riding a horse. You can watch videos of people riding horses. And so on and so forth. What if you have that kind of experience? So I had one day, I used to do carpentry work around an area just north of Los Angeles, around the rim there, just past the rim, near Magic Mountain on the other side, Newhall, Valencia, Saugus, Canyon Country, and so I used to do carpentry work in that area. I had a little thing we put up in the paper or something. People would hire me. So some of the people would hire me was a ranch, a horse ranch, Arabian horse ranch. I mean, they had the most beautiful high-end place. Horses that were worth tons of money, beautiful things. Some of them stallions. Have you ever seen a stallion, the ones they don't gild? I mean, these horses are awesome, can be awesome, broad chests, powerful creatures. Anyway, I worked up there, and about the time I worked up there, I had gotten involved with horses because I had 4 or 5 kids, little kids, 4 or 5 years old, and I had gotten one of them a pony. We didn't like the pony very much because the pony wasn't very nice from our point of view. I hope he doesn't take it personally, but he just wasn't fun. He wasn't a fun pony. So I was looking to get a regular horse, and my country neighbors told me a secret I'm going to tell you, and I suggest you ever decide that you want to get a horse and you have, like in my case, I was so poor. So what I had was a rented little house. It was just some little kind of like a very modest, to say the least, house out in the country. I rented some Irish brothers who were really like big monster guys. Really. Anyway, they rented me this house, not too much money. And behind the house was 1/10 of an acre. 1/10 of an acre. But on that acre I had room, and I did too. I used the whole thing. On one end I had an area where I had like a corral for my horse, and I had a shed there. The horse could get under the shed and get out of the sun. And then another area sort of open. I had some sheep there. And then coming in toward the middle, towards the house, and towards me, I had a chicken coop. I built, I think, did I build that? I must have. I don't remember where I either got one or I built one. I had chickens in there. At one point I had a couple of ducks and even a turkey. And then behind that, and over a ways, I had a garden with a fairly good sized area where I grew all kinds of. I was so struck by growing corn. The corn was like different. All the things around it were growing. That corn was so regal. It's so pure. It was so something about the corn. It really struck me. When I don't know, it's kind of a small thing, but I'll mention it. And so there was another plant there. The zucchini grows very fast, and you can eat it. It's good if you fry it up in oil and put salt on it. It's really tasty. But there were those things, those little round things. What do they call it? I'm not going to be able to think of it. Brussels sprouts. I never had much care for Brussels sprouts. But you know, I got to where I did care for them when I found out how to cook them up good with butter and stuff. They're quite tasty. And the reason I did was because I was very impressed with Brussels sprouts. Because Brussels sprouts, winter would come out there in the desert. It would get cold. All the plants would die and wither and go away. But not the Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts grew way, way, way further into the season, into the fall season than anything else. Brave lads, hardy. So I came to admire them. Besides all those plants, then I had another shed over here, a small shed, open shed. All the sheds, there wasn't anything closed at all except for the chicken coop was closed, of course. But the other shed was kind of this open shed, and there I bought a Hereford Cross, a cow, milking cow. I paid $350 for it or something, and I milked that cow every day. Now, I would feed that cow. There was no grazing there. The earth was just, trampled. I mean, there wasn't any grass growing there, dirt. I mean, there was some grass, nothing to speak of, nothing a cow could graze on. I fed her a sheath of hay every day, and every now and then, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week, or maybe just once a week, I would give it, a thing, a handful, trying to make it, a thing of grain, some grain, a few handfuls of grain. Cow would produce a gallon and a half of milk every day. The kids got rosy cheeked. We had all the milk we needed. Well, it was organic, wasn't it? Pretty much. I don't know. Did I get organic hay? Probably. But it was clean hay. It was hay. Those days hay was cheap. $3, $4, $5 a bale. A sheath a day. It cost me 50 cents, a little bit of grain, so $1 a day. I was getting a gallon and a half of milk. From which you can make, which, we unfortunately never, it was a kind of a chaotic family, but, you can make butter and cheese and cream. So many things you can do with that milk. Give it to the neighbors. I found that when you drink the milk, I had a neighbor, a Mexican neighbor, a Mexican family, poor as dirt, just like we were pretty poor too. The guy worked somewhere, probably worked out in the fields, as most of the Mexican guys dead. The family would go out, bend over in the hot sun, pick whatever it was the farm was paying them to pick. But anyway, I spoke some Spanish, not a lot. I spoke some Spanish. She spoke a little bit of English. So we were able to communicate. One day I asked her, I said, so what's your favorite? Because the milk is warm when it comes, you're spraying into the bucket. It's warm. And then, of course, it starts cooling off. And you can take it into the house when it's cooled off, and then you can put it in the refrigerator. And of course, right away, you mess around with milk. Put it into a cold area. And you would, then it would get cold. And of course, at first it would be so fun. And over time, just because of one thing or another, I experienced drinking that milk, and all the different things, right? But I didn't drink the milk right out of the cow because I was like, oh my God, warm milk. Ooh, I wouldn't like that. One day, my neighbor, this older woman, character, she said, I said, what's your favorite? What's your favorite time to drink the milk? She says, right out of the cow. That's the way I like it, right out of the cow. It spurted into her mouth. That's what she liked the milk. So I tried it. And it was the best milk. It was like a milkshake. There's so much life in it. It's wonderful. Yeah, milk. Reminds me. Anyway, I had all those things on a tenth of an acre. And there's one other little story I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you a couple of stories about that time. One of them was one day there were rattlesnakes in the area, and of course we were all, oh my God, rattlesnakes. One day I was out in the driveway, gravel driveway, and there was some commotion. I had a VW bus. It was kind of a semi-hippie, an anti-establishment kind of person, slightly, although I went to the university and stuff, which I never graduated from, so don't get thinking, oh, the guy is educated. Well, I was educated, but I was too poor. I could never afford to keep the thing together long enough to get all my documents and get a degree and stay with it. I kept having things happen. But anyway, I loved it. I loved studying at the university. University of California, Berkeley. Oh my God. I'll tell you more stories about that later. But anyway, so we're out there in the driveway, and here's these little baby rattlesnakes. Oh, they're so cute. And we were careful with them. I don't know what we did with them. I don't think, did we kill them? I don't know if we did or not. I'm not sure that we did. I think they were so cute. But anyway, so then later I was talking to the old woman next door, and the one from, they were, from Mexico, real Mexico, border town. I don't know where they were from exactly, but anyway, country people. She said, oh yeah, she said the baby rattlesnakes are the most poisonous. Oh my God. Well, you'd have to think so, wouldn't you? Their poison would be all fresh and funny things you learn. Anyhow, that cow, that's the last thing I want to say about it, because I started talking about horses. The example of riding a horse rather than just reading about horses. So anyway, oh yeah, so that cow was the most economical animal or any kind of venture I did in the bank. Very economical. I mean, you made money with that cow. You had a cow, you were milking that cow. And I'll tell you one other thing. That cow, I love milking a cow. You wouldn't think so, you think. And another thing I'll tell you. People say, well, you have to get up in the morning, every morning at 5 in the morning and milk the cow. I wouldn't want to do that. No, you don't. Whoever tells you that wise tale. As long as you milk a cow once a day, once in a 24-hour period, doesn't matter when you milk them, you can milk them whenever you please, whenever you feel so guided or you want to, however you operate, whatever moves you around. What's happened to my face? Who knows? Anyway, we can milk them then, and it would take about half an hour. I could go out there, I could be in any sort of mood. Sometimes I wasn't happy. I was kind of, you know, out there milking that cow. By the time I finished milking that cow, it was like I was energized. I got a lot of energy from milking that cow. It can wear you out. No, give me energy. Energy from it. And for many years, for a long time, I don't know if I've forgotten exactly, but I mean, I would probably still do. It was one of my favorite kind of work to do, milking a cow by hand. You miss out, you put a machine on there. What's the fun of that? I don't think the cow would like it particularly either. You know, yeah, you could get. So anyway, coming back to the horse. So I was working on this ranch where they had all these beautiful Arabian horses, and most of them cost a fortune. Way over my pay thing, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. And they had some real top of the line horses there too. But my neighbors in the country, I got to know the people around there. I was a young, active kid. I was probably, how old was I? I don't know, 30. You know, I was in my early 30s. I got to know a lot of the neighbors. They told me the secret. I'm going to pass it on to you. That if you want to get a good horse, just forget about all these things. That you are looking for this, you're looking for that, and how old is it, and all these kind of things. Find a horse that you have a feeling of love for, that you love that horse. You feel, oh, I love this horse, I love this horse. Buy that horse. That'll be your horse. So when I was over there, they had a mare who was over there, and it was something about her pedigree that they didn't like, or there was something, and they were letting her go for a mere $900. Unheard of price for this was a half Arabian, half quarter horse they had bred. Half Arabian, think about it, and half quarter horse, both from good stock. Well, there was a bunch of horses they had there, and but I was drawn to that horse. I liked that horse. I had a feeling of love for that horse. I ended up naming her Rebecca. Anyway, I bought the horse. Practically killed me to get $900 together, but I did. I managed to get it together, and I bought the horse, and I brought it home. We have a thing, I don't think we did, we borrow, you know, a horse trailer from somebody. We did have a truck, I think I had a truck then. Or did I? Separate car. Anyway, somehow or another I got the horse home. And I had a place for it in the back. So there you are. The horse was pretty tall, not super tall, but pretty tall. Mostly, she looked more Arabian than she did quarter horse, that was for sure. You know, light tan. Young, you know, 2 or 3 years old. Full of vigor. Now, all of a sudden you've got to get, then I get a saddle, that's another story. I don't think I'll tell that story, but anyway, I did, finally got a saddle for her. And she had been trained. I won't go into details about that. Anyway, so here's this pretty good sized horse. I mean, you had to kind of figure out how you're going to get up on her. Even with the saddle, you have to kind of whoa, get up on her. There you are. You're way up in the air on top of this rather large animal. And, you know, get her walking, going along. There you are, you're moving along. Pretty soon, you know, she starts to trot, just jolt. I mean, you can't get them trotting. You don't want them trotting very long. And whoa, 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 whoa. You have to get them to canters. You have to kind of reduce them. But my mother had given me riding lessons when I was a child, San Diego, so I knew something about, riding horses. So then you get into the canter, and then off you go. And then she liked to run. She loved to run. I get her out and up in the hills there, and she just run like the wind. Wow, you have to have some kind of, first of all, you have to have balance to be on that horse. And I'll tell you another secret about horses. If you have back trouble, now maybe you should get a little, Walmart back brace or some kind of cheap brace. You don't have to go to the doctor. Don't go to the doctor, for God's sake. Just get a back brace on your own. But if you ride the horse, you're having trouble, your back's hurting, and it's always kind of going out or whatever, get a horse and stick with it. And after a while, not too long, after a while, you'll notice them, because what happens is when you ride a horse, the balance in the muscles in the back of your back, they start to develop because you're using them. Those muscles, you have to have those muscles to stay on the horse. It's not always easy to stay on a horse. You're using those muscles a lot, and pretty soon they get stronger and stronger. One day it occurs to you, the thing that should have occurred to you before you ever had back trouble is don't use your back to lift things. Don't use your back for this and that. Use the muscles in your back, not your backbone. So that riding that horse healed my back. I didn't have really serious back problems after that. I hadn't had any before, but then I abused my back moving people, and all of a sudden I had back trouble, and that's another story. Anyway, but I want to caution you one thing. One day, when I first got the horse, I was riding around, and she stopped suddenly, or she jerked, and they get spooked by things. A car or something, they'll see something, oh, they stop. Shoot! And she stopped, twisted my back, just, the pain. I practically fell off the horse. I couldn't ride for a couple of weeks. But I got back up on her. I don't want to be like Barbra Streisand, who fixed up a horse for her to corral, and then she fell off and she never got back up on again. All that work building that corral and fixing everything up for her was all for nothing. It's too bad. Anyway, that's the thing. And when you've experienced riding a horse, then you know what it's like. You know something about horses. You can say something about a horse, and it means something. You're telling the truth. And it's the same thing with, why don't we start out here with I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh yeah. Well, coming to the earth and beings on the earth, you have to experience it. You can read about it in a book all you want, but when you get yourself into a tough situation in the earth, which I'm sure won't take very long before you have some kind of tough situation, then you get to experience what it's like to be here. You get to experience the good and the not so good, as we like to put it. And you've had real experience on the earth. Okay, so we've had experience on the earth, and here we are. I got my kids. And we'll just kind of go from there. You know, one thing and another will come up, and I will tell you my story, or parts of my story that I think will be useful to you. That's 49 minutes, and there we go, 50 minutes. Okay. So goodbye for now. See you in part 2.